The mind is like water. When calm, it reflects clarity. When disturbed, it distorts reality. In the monastery, we are taught that transformation does not require a lifetime. It requires intention, discipline, and presence. Many people believe that change must be slow, but the truth is your mind can shift in a single breath, a single thought, a single day. In this teaching, I will share with you a Shaolin secret, not hidden from the world, but hidden from the undisciplined mind. This is not magic. This is not illusion. It is a practice, a way of returning to the self. In the next 24 hours, if you apply this wisdom, not only will your thoughts change, you will change. So, I ask you, are you ready to meet the version of yourself that your soul has been waiting for? The mind becomes what it repeatedly focuses on. This is not just philosophy. It is a universal truth deeply understood by the Shaolin masters and repeatedly proven by the way our thoughts shape our behaviors, our habits, and eventually our entire identity. In the Shaolin temple, monks are trained to observe their thoughts with absolute clarity, because what we allow to occupy our mental space ultimately builds the structure of our lives. If you focus on fear, your actions will shrink. If you focus on discipline, your actions will align. If you focus on peace, your body will begin to relax, your breath will slow, and your choices will reflect serenity. But if your mind is constantly tuned into distraction, comparison, or chaos, your inner world becomes fragmented and you lose the ability to direct your life with purpose. Many people think they need to change everything outside of them in order to feel better inside. But the truth is reversed. Your focus determines your perception. Two people can stand in the same storm. One will panic and freeze. The other will breathe, center themselves, and take action with clarity. The difference is not the storm. It's the mind facing it. What you practice mentally becomes your default setting. If you constantly focus on problems, your brain becomes wired to seek them, even when they're not there. But if you train your mind to seek growth, to learn from difficulty, and to stay calm in discomfort, then challenge becomes your teacher and pain becomes a form of sharpening. Shaolin wisdom teaches that energy flows where attention goes. So, each moment you are alive, you are given a choice. Where will you place your attention? Is it on fear, regret, distraction, or is it on strength, patience, clarity? This choice, repeated consistently, is how you rewire your mind. Not with one big dramatic change, but with small decisions made again and again throughout your day. When you wake up, what's your first thought? When you face discomfort, do you react or respond? When you sit in silence, do you feel it or feel it? These are the real training grounds of transformation. Even science has shown what Shaolin monks have practiced for centuries, that neuroplasticity allows the brain to reshape itself based on repeated focus. You become what you give energy to. You become what you think about, speak about, and act upon. Repeatedly, this is why a single day of mindful focus can begin a profound change. Not because 24 hours is enough to undo years of patterns, but because in that day you make a statement to yourself. You show your mind a new direction. You give it a new command. You take back control. It is like planting a seed. Not everything will bloom overnight, but the decision to plant with care is the beginning of growth. So when we say the mind becomes what it repeatedly focuses on, we are not offering a poetic idea. We are revealing the key to mastering your life from within. This is the secret hidden in plain sight. And for those willing to focus not just once, but again and again, the rewards are not temporary. They are transformational. The first step is awareness. The second is discipline. And the third is repetition. Your life is shaped not by what you do once, but by what you do consistently. That is why the 24 hours ahead of you matter more than you think. Discipline is the bridge between thought and transformation. Many people have ideas. They have dreams. They have fleeting moments of inspiration where they feel motivated to change something in their life. But those moments pass. Why? Because thought alone is not enough. A powerful thought without action is like a flame without fuel. It dies quickly. In the Shaolin tradition, we are taught that discipline is not punishment, it is not restriction, and it is certainly not suffering. Discipline is freedom. It is the structure that allows your thoughts to turn into consistent action. And consistent action is the only way to truly change who you are from the inside out. The mind is full of fluctuations. One moment it is confident, the next it is full of doubt. One moment it wants to train, the next it wants comfort. If you follow the mind without discipline, you will always be reactive, always pulled by the winds of your emotions. But discipline anchors you. It holds you steady, especially when the mind tries to escape discomfort. In the monastery, we train every single day, not because it is easy or enjoyable, but because discipline teaches us mastery, the ability to show up, whether you feel like it or not, is the foundation of self-respect. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to rely on your actions, not just your moods. And over time, this quiet, steady practice begins to rewire everything. Every transformation, whether physical, mental, or spiritual, begins with a decision. But decisions don't sustain themselves without discipline. Imagine standing at the edge of change. You've had a realization. You know what you need to do. You can even feel a glimpse of the person you want to become. But between that thought and the reality of living it every day is a bridge made of daily habits, small choices, uncomfortable repetitions. That bridge is called discipline. Without it, the thought remains a dream. With it, the thought becomes your new life. There is no shortcut to mastery. The Shaolin monks spend years perfecting a single movement, a single form, a single breath. Not because they are slow, but because they understand that true power comes from depth, not speed. In your life, the same applies. Whether you want to heal, grow, create, or succeed, you must commit to the path again and again. There will be days when your mind resists. There will be days when you doubt everything. But if you remain disciplined, you will cross over that doubt like walking across a narrow bridge. Every time you act in discipline, even when your mind says, give up, you strengthen the roots of your transformation. Discipline also brings simplicity. In a world full of distraction and noise, it is discipline that clears the path. It says, this is what matters. This is where I will put my energy. And everything else becomes background. When you are disciplined, you no longer chase temporary highs. You build lasting fulfillment. You no longer need motivation because you have commitment. This is the secret the world forgets. Discipline is not cold or harsh. It is loving. It is the daily decision to honor your future self, even when your present self wants comfort. The truth is, the life you want is already possible. It exists on the other side of consistent effort. Thoughts can guide you. Inspiration can ignite you. But only discipline carry you across the distance between where you are and where you want to be. And every time you choose discipline, you cast a vote for the person you are becoming. So the next time you hear that inner voice say, I don't feel like it, smile. That is the exact moment when transformation begins. Stillness is not the absence of movement. It's the control of it. Many people misunderstand stillness. They think it means doing nothing, sitting idle, waiting passively for peace to arrive. But in the Shaolin tradition, stillness is a skill. It is not empty space. It is focused energy. It is not lack of action. It is mastery of action. To be still does not mean you are frozen. It means you are awake inside, deeply aware, fully present. You are no longer reacting blindly to the world around you. You are choosing your response with calm, measured intention. That is real strength because it means you have taken control of your internal environment regardless of the chaos outside. In a world addicted to noise, distraction, and constant motion, stillness becomes a revolutionary act. It is through stillness that the Shaolin monks learn to hear their inner voice, to understand their emotions, and to gain insight into their minds. When the body is still and the breath is slow, the mind begins to reveal what is hidden beneath the surface. But for most people, the moment they become still, discomfort rises. They are flooded with thoughts, urges, anxieties. So they run back to distraction. But if you stay, if you learn to sit with that discomfort, it eventually transforms. Your awareness sharpens, your breathing deepens. Your mind, once restless, becomes your ally instead of your enemy. This control of movement does not only apply to sitting in meditation. It is about how you walk, how you speak, how you move through life. The monk walking slowly through the forest is not lazy. He is present. Each step is deliberate. Each breath is conscious. He is aware of the sound of the leaves, the feel of the wind, the pressure of the earth beneath his feet. He is still, even while in motion. And this quality can be brought into everything. When you train your mind to find stillness within, then every action you take carries more clarity, more intention, and more energy. You don't waste yourself in unnecessary movement or reaction. Stillness is also the doorway to seeing clearly. When water is disturbed, it becomes cloudy. You cannot see what lies beneath, but when it settles, it reflects everything. The same is true with the mind. In agitation, you see only fragments. In stillness, truth becomes visible. The most powerful decisions come from a still mind, not a reactive one. The greatest insights arise in silence, not in noise. When you train yourself to return to stillness, you are training for balance, for clarity, and for peace. Not just for moments of meditation, but for the intensity of daily life. In combat, stillness is power. The master does not rush. He observes, he waits, he acts only when necessary, and with precision. The same applies to your thoughts and emotions. You don't have to act on every impulse. You don't have to respond to every distraction. Stillness gives you space, and in that space lies your true power. You choose when to move, how to move, and why to move. Nothing controls you. You are the master. In the beginning, stillness will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will resist, but with practice, it becomes your sanctuary, a place you can return to again and again, no matter what is happening around you. From this place, your actions become more aligned. Your energy becomes more focused. You stop reacting to life and begin responding to it. With wisdom, with awareness, and with calm strength. True stillness is not a pause in life. It is a return to your center. When you master it, even the most chaotic storm cannot disturb your inner peace. You are no longer a slave to emotion or impulse. You become grounded, conscious, and deliberate. And from that space, anything is possible. In 24 hours, intention can break old mental patterns. People often believe change takes years, that transformation is a slow, almost unreachable process. But the Shaolin way teaches something different. It teaches that the moment you align your mind, with deep intention, time becomes a tool, not a barrier. In a single day, you can redirect your focus, challenge your beliefs, and begin to rewrite the script you've been unconsciously following. Change does not wait for the perfect moment. It begins when the decision is made, when the inner shift happens, and the mind chooses clarity over confusion, action over hesitation, presence over distraction. That moment can happen now. And once it does, the 24 hours ahead of you become sacred ground for transformation. What makes intention powerful is its purity. It is not a vague wish or a hopeful thought. It is a clear, conscious decision to shift your energy. When a Shaolin monk sets an intention, he does so with his whole being, breath and mind aligned. That kind of intention is a force. It cuts through the noise of the world and brings your scattered thoughts into one focus stream. Once this alignment is created, old habits begin to break down, not because they are fought with force, but because they are replaced with conscious action. You cannot keep doing what you used to do if your awareness is now anchored in a higher purpose. You begin to feel the difference between what serves you and what distracts you. And in that clarity, the old patterns lose their grip. Most people live the same day again and again, calling it a life. They repeat the same thoughts, react in the same ways, and wonder why nothing changes. But if, for one day, you became fully conscious of your thoughts, your movements, your speech, everything would begin to shift. You would see how often your mind drifts, how often you act out of habit instead of choice. That awareness alone is a disruption to the old pattern. It is like shining a light into a dark room. Suddenly, you see what was always there, but now you have the power to choose differently. Every action taken with intention becomes a building block for your new identity. From the way you sit, to the way you breathe, to the way you speak to others. When these are infused with purpose, they become powerful tools of transformation. The Shaolin path is not about doing more, it is about doing with presence. One breath with awareness is more valuable than 100 without. 1 hour lived with clarity can undo years of mindless repetition. That is the power of the present moment when combined with sincere intention. Even the way you speak to yourself begins to change. Instead of reinforcing negative cycles, I can't do this, this is just how I am, you begin to speak with truth and strength. I am choosing growth. I am capable of change. I am not my past. These new patterns take root because you are giving them energy, attention, and repetition. And that process can begin today, not someday in the future. It doesn't require perfect conditions. It requires commitment, not to the outer world, but to your inner self. The reason 24 hours is enough to begin rewiring the mind is because your focus during that time determines your direction. It's not about reaching the final destination. It's about planting the right seeds. If you carry intention into every moment, if you remain awake instead of asleep in habit, your mind starts to reorganize itself. The pathways you walk mentally begin to shift. You begin to feel lighter, more grounded, more in control. Not because the world changed, but because you changed how you interact with it. That shift is real. And once you experience it, even for a day, you will never forget the feeling of what's possible. Your environment reflects your internal state. Clean both. This simple truth is often overlooked in modern life. People separate the external from the internal as if they are not connected. But Shaolin wisdom sees no such division. The space around you is a mirror of the space within you. A cluttered room is often a reflection of a cluttered mind. A chaotic schedule can mirror an unsettled heart. When a monk wakes up each day, one of the first tasks is to clean his space. Not as a chore, but as a ritual. It is a form of self-respect, a way of preparing the mind for clarity and purpose. When you create order outside, you support order inside. Most people ignore the subtle influence of their environment. They think a messy desk or untidy room is harmless, but these small elements send constant signals to the subconscious. Clutter speaks of indecision, of delay, of energy stuck in the past. A clean, open space tells the mind, This is a place of focus, of renewal, of ability. That is why when you clean your surroundings with intention, you are not just moving objects. You are moving energy. You are letting go of old attachments and creating space for something new to enter. The same principle applies to the people around you, the media you consume, the sounds that fill your space. Everything that enters your environment enters your mind in some form. If you surround yourself with negativity, noise, or distraction, your internal state will begin to reflect that vibration. But when you choose calm, simplicity, and intention, your mind begins to relax. You don't have to fight for peace. It naturally arises in a supportive space. This is why Shaolin monks often live in minimal, quiet environments. It is not just for tradition. It is because they understand that clarity requires space and power grows in silence. But this does not mean you need to live in a monastery to find peace. It simply means you must become aware of what your environment is doing to your mind. Look around. What are you allowing into your space? What energy does it carry? What emotions does it trigger? Cleaning the outer world is often easier than cleaning the inner one. But once you experience the effect of a clear space, it becomes a gateway to deeper internal work. Meditation becomes easier. Focus strengthens. Sleep improves. Your thoughts slow down. You begin to see things as they are, not as your stress or clutter once distorted them. And then the deeper work can begin, cleaning the internal space, letting go of resentment, releasing regret, softening the inner voice that judges or limits you. This too is cleaning, and it is sacred. Every breath you take is an opportunity to sweep the dust from the mind. Every time you choose silence over noise, simplicity over excess, or intention over habit, you are cleaning your mental environment. And just like with your physical space, you don't clean it once and expect it to stay that way forever. It is a daily practice, a daily return. But each time you do it, you reinforce your alignment, your balance, your strength. The outer world and inner world are dancing partners. If one is off rhythm, the other stumbles. But when both are in harmony, there is flow. Life moves more smoothly. You feel more present, more grounded, more powerful. You begin to realize that peace is not something you find. It's something you make space for. And that space begins with the choice to clean, to clear, and to care deeply for both your environment and your inner world. In that space, transformation begins. True power comes when action and awareness move as one. In the Shaolin tradition, this unity is the foundation of mastery. Many people take action constantly, rushing from one task to another, driven by pressure, habit, or fear. Others may cultivate awareness through meditation, reflection, or silence, but fail to bring that awareness into their daily actions. When either side is missing, something vital is lost. Action without awareness leads to burnout, confusion, and chaos. Awareness without action becomes passive, stagnant, and ultimately unfulfilled. But when the two are united, when each movement is guided by presence and each moment of presence leads to purposeful action, then life becomes a flow of strength and clarity. In Shaolin training, every punch, every step, every breath must be aligned with full awareness. You do not throw 1,000 punches mindlessly. You throw one punch 1,000 times with full intention. That's the difference. The body learns discipline, the mind learns focus, and the two begin to work together. The result is not just skill, it's transformation. You begin to experience yourself differently. You are no longer scattered. You become whole, aligned, powerful. The outside world may still be unpredictable, but inside, you are steady. This harmony between action and awareness can be applied to every part of life. It's in how you speak, choosing your words carefully rather than reacting with emotion. It's in how you work, focusing deeply rather than multitasking without direction. It's in how you respond to others, listening fully before acting, understanding before reacting. When your actions are grounded in awareness, they become deliberate and powerful. You no longer waste energy on what doesn't matter. Every step has purpose. Every decision has clarity, but this union doesn't happen by chance. It must be trained. It starts by slowing down, not to do less, but to be more fully present in what you do. Start by noticing your breath while walking. Observe your thoughts before speaking. Feel your body as you move through your day. At first, this awareness may feel unnatural, even uncomfortable. But with time, it becomes the most natural thing in the world. You begin to feel alive, not in the future, not in the past, but right now. This is where power lives, not in what you plan to do tomorrow, but in what you are fully doing now. And this kind of awareness doesn't weaken action. It strengthens it. When a master strikes, it is not rushed. It is clean, precise, and unstoppable. Why? Because there is no hesitation, no scattered energy. The action and the awareness are one. This is the kind of power that cannot be faked. It comes not from aggression or force, but from deep presence. You do not need to overpower others when you are fully present in yourself. Your presence alone becomes impactful. This integration also brings peace. When you act with awareness, you carry less regret. You no longer question your path or second guess your choices, because you know you are fully there. You gave your full self to the moment. That level of integrity builds confidence and trust, not just in others, but in yourself. You begin to trust your own judgment. You no longer search endlessly for answers outside, because you are listening within. When awareness and action become one, life stops feeling fragmented. You no longer live with the feeling that you're constantly behind or disconnected. Instead, you feel aligned. Each day becomes meaningful. Even ordinary moments become extraordinary because you are fully awake to them. This is the essence of the Shaolin way, not to escape life, but to live it fully with strength, intention, and deep awareness. In that unity, true power arises,